This is Wabash Carnegie Public Library Oral History Program, and this is George Dingleby interviewing John Tim Siegfred, Route 2, Wabash, Indiana, 46992, on a Tuesday evening, February 5th, 1985, and the interview is taking place at the VFW building on US 24 West. The first question I'm going to ask you is about your background and your family and who your mother and father were and your mother's maiden name and brothers and sisters and stuff like that, and where and when you were born and so forth. So start talking.
Well, let's see. My father is Bud Siegfred. My mother is Pat Miller. She lives in Texas. Dad lives here in Wabash. Dad's remarried to Clara. I had an older brother who was killed in a car wreck several years ago. I got two younger brothers. Let's see, I got three half-sisters and a half-brother. And here I'm lost, George.
Yeah, okay, that's all right. Who were your grandparents, your dad's parents? Who were they?
Okay, Dad's parents were Ed and Myrtle Siegfred from Rowan.
Okay, and your mother's parents?
Bessie Miller, and her father I never knew. She never knew either, because he died before she was born.
Okay, all right. And where were you born, what date, and where did you go to school and all that stuff?
Well, I was born December 14th, 1948, and went to school at Wabash.
Graduated?
Yeah.
What year?
1966.
Yeah, okay. What did you do after graduation then?
Same thing I did before I graduated, working for my dad.
Yeah, okay. And then you were drafted?
Yeah. In 1969.
Yeah. What date?
February 2nd.
Yeah. Okay, now tell me where you went for induction and basic training and what basic training was like and so forth.
Yeah, basic training. Wasn't basic training nice? Went to Fort Knox. Let's see, I spent 8 weeks in basic training there, a week in induction before basic training. From there I went to Fort Eustis, Virginia, for 16 weeks of advanced training in helicopter mechanics. Then I got 15 days at home and shipped over.
Mm-hmm. Where did you leave from?
Where in the world was that?
Oakland, California?
No, Fort Dix.
Fort Dix? And you flew?
From Fort Dix to Alaska and Japan and
down to Vietnam?
Down to Vietnam.
And what date would this have been, roughly?
I wish I knew, because I was trying to think of that the other day. About September. Oh, then about the latter part of August.
What year?
69.
In 69.
Mm-hmm.
And the war was pretty hot by this time.
I didn't really see much of, what the guys out in the field were seeing.
Yeah. But I mean, in the papers and everything else, the
yeah.
war had gotten pretty hot and so forth. Okay. When you flew over, was it a charter plane or?
Commercial flight.
Commercial flight. All strictly military on the plane, or?
All military personnel, yeah. They had, they had, what do I want to say?
Civilian?
Civilian, the hostesses.
Yeah, okay. Stewardess.
Stewardess.
Yeah, okay, they were the civilians, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
okay. But this was just a regular commercial flight.
Yeah.
And where did you land in Long Bend, in Vietnam?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What was going on at Long Bend? Was there any activity at the airstrip?
Nothing really. I was scared. I think everybody on board was. Didn't know what was going to happen when you got off the plane. I expected to get off the plane and somebody's going to hand you a rifle and tell you to run, but it wasn't like that at all. They loaded on buses and took us to an orientation center, and we spent about a week there before they found out where they were going to send us to.
Yeah.
And I got orders to go to an artillery battery, and that kind of blew my mind, because I went through all this training to be in helicopter, and they're sending me to artillery. But it turned out to be aerial rocket artillery from helicopters. So.
And what outfit did you join in? Did it have a designated number or?
Alpha Battery, 2nd and 20th Artillery.
And what was the mission of the group? What were they to do? And
air support for the ground troops.
yeah, and Can you describe the helicopters and how they were armed and equipped? And
Well, it's nothing like Airwolf, but at that time it was about the most awesome thing they ever invented.
yeah.
Huey Cobras. They fired miniguns, which was 7.62 ammo, and one small cannon we called a chunker,
Mm-hmm.
which was a grenade launcher, and they carried rockets, 10-pound, 17-pound warhead.
Mm-hmm. Where was this base that you operated out of?
Tay Ninh.
Tay Ninh.
Tay Ninh.
Yeah. How do you spell it?
Let me get them out.
Oh.
Tayninh.
Tay Ninh. Okay. And was there any activity at the base? Did you have any problems at the base? Where you
Oh, you get an incoming mortar round or something like that once in a while. But
no, nothing other than that. Was the base pretty well secured or not?
it was secure, and it was green line or bunkers all the way around it.
Yeah.
I think one time in the 9 months I was on that base, they had some get through the wire, but that was about
Yeah. Did you fly at all?
several hours.
Yeah. You were, in other words, you were crew chief, or what? What did you do?
Well,
What was your MOS?
I was a crew chief, but the crew chief on a Cobra doesn't fly. A Cobra only seats two passengers
Yeah.
near both pilots.
Yeah. But you did fly.
Yeah, several.
For what reason?
Test missions and to take a helicopter someplace to get it fixed or something like that. I'd fly the front seat.
Mm-hmm. No support missions or anything?
No.
Yeah. Was the helicopters, was this type warfare that they were using, was it successful, or
I'd say very much so.
were they using, they had nothing to do with Agent Orange or anything like that? They were
Nothing that we were
napalm
doing.
or...
Nothing we were doing, no.
Yeah.
Ours
You-
were all just rockets.
Yeah. How was the failure rate or casualty rate among the helicopters on these combat missions?
We lost 6 pilots while I was over there. 3 aircraft we lost with 2 pilots in each.
Uh-huh.
One of them, they were putting on an air show at where was it, Saigon or Benoit or someplace for some highfalutin general, and they crashed. Killed 2 of them. 2 of them were killed coming in low level under the artillery firing out of the base one time, and they hit a tree and crashed.
Uh-huh.
And the other one, I was standing on the flight line one night working on a helicopter, and the pilot just flew it in the ground.
What did you do specifically as crew chief in the helicopter?
The helicopter was my responsibility.
And did you have anybody with you, or under you, or worked with you on
Daily maintenance and like that, I took care of all that myself. 100-hour, 300-hour periodicals like that. I'd sign the aircraft over to maintenance, and maintenance would all take care of all that.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that the maintenance was good during this period?
Not really. You had a bunch of kids that didn't know what they were doing. I mean, I was a kid myself.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. So you did this for a whole year,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing other than that happened? Nothing more exciting than that?
Oh, I spent a week at LZ Khartoum one time. It wasn't too thrilling.
What is LZ? How do you spell that, if you can remember it?
Nothing like it sounds. Khartoum. We got sent up there for a week one time. One of the small bases up there were getting hit, and they needed helicopters closer to rearm. So we set up there for a week.
And what happened while you were there?
That's the only time I got to sleep on the ground.
In other words, they were shelling the base or shelling the area? Or?
Well, we even had to set up outside the wire there, which didn't thrill in. The rats were so thick up there, it wasn't funny. It was a Arvin base, and the Arvins were just plain filthy.
Mm-hmm.
Throw your garbage every place, so the rats were every place.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually had to have a guy stay awake at night just running a flashlight over the guys trying to sleep to keep the rats away.
Yeah. You didn't have any, you had no mosquito nets or anything like that?
No.
Didn't use those? That would say, how about R&R? Did you take any R&R?
Took an R&R to Hawaii and met my wife over there. Or she flew over and met me there.
For how long? What was your R&R?
6 days.
6 days. That must have been one of the more unusual R&Rs. Because most of the guys were going to Hong Kong, or some even stayed right there in Vietnam. And
Well, if I hadn't been married, I'd probably went someplace else. I put in for a 7-day leave to Australia, and didn't have the money to go. The CO didn't know it. And my wife had a birthday coming up, and I wanted to go to Saigon.
Yeah.
Well, I was in the first cab, and that was off limits. Saigon was off limits to the cab. So I went in and talked to the old man, and see if I could go to Saigon, and he told me no, naturally. I said, well, I guess I'll go to Australia then. He said, wait a minute, I can't lose you for 2 weeks while you go to Australia.
Yeah.
He said, let me see what I'm doing. He called me in that afternoon and gave me 3 days in Saigon.
So you got there after all.
Yeah. Called my wife on her birthday.
Yeah. Great. Great. Were you conscious of any protest that was going on here, either while you were in training or on any of the bases or any of the places you were out in? You did some advanced training out in the east there. Were you conscious of any of it?
A small amount. I mean, I'm like everybody else. I didn't want to go to Vietnam, but I wasn't going to Canada.
Yeah. That was the lesser of the two alternatives.
Right.
Were there many blacks in the outfit?
We had about 4 in our outfit, and there was probably 200 guys in the outfit.
Yeah. What was the relationships between the blacks?
Real good.
Real good. The blacks didn't stick to themselves, or
No.
yeah, they just.
One of my best friends over there was a colored guy,
Yeah.
a singer.
Had the drug scene come on to the Army and everything by this time? Or?
Yeah, I spent about 3 months over there attending bar and an EM club. And you knew who was on drugs because they'd come in and buy soda, and the rest of the guys were buying beer. But there was guys over there that were just totally zilched.
All the time? Was it cheap? Was it easy to get? Or
Both.
yeah. And
I can truthfully say I never tried it.
yeah. Do you think that's causing a lot of problems that you're seeing today with some of these guys, like we're talking about tonight and stuff like that? It's just too accessible for them?
No, I think they were using it for a crutch, just, get away, you're not there.
Yeah. How about Agent Orange? Were you exposed to that at all?
Not that I know of. But, well, I was looking through some photos with my wife, and she mentioned it to me. That, the trees in the background, no foliage on them and everything. And I wrote her back and told them what they had done, to get rid of the foliage.
Yeah.
So I had been in areas where they had used it,
Mm-hmm.
but not while they were using it.
Yeah. You've had no visible ill effects or
The only thing I've got is the fungus on my hands that I get every year.
summer or winter?
Summer.
And have you had it examined? I presume you have.
Yeah, it's a fungus.
And that's all?
What the doctors tell me.
Yeah, it's a fungus. So we used to get the same thing in they call it jungle rot, and I presume, but I don't have it since I left that area, so I've had no problem since then. This is sort of a funny question, but I was watching television the other day, and I saw where the defense minister from Vietnam, which is one country now, as you know. Perhaps you saw the same program I did, where they sent a news team over to Vietnam, and they just traveled around the country and visited all the places that were so active back in the days of the war, which was extremely interesting as to what's going on there today. And some of the Eurasian children that are left over there, and one thing or another. But he was saying that if the United States was so interested in Vietnam and liberation and everything else, why not help us with some reparations? Now, what's your feeling on that?
They didn't want us there when we were over there.
They did not want it?
I didn't feel they did.
What was your feeling about the whole war?
Well, I suppose I was for it. It started out to be a good deal. Let's stop communism. But the way they fight a war just doesn't make sense.
How's that?
You can hit me, but I can't hit you back. That
Yeah.
don't make sense.
Yeah, that's right. Did you have the feeling that the people of Vietnam cared less whether you were there or not? Or?
They wanted your dollar, and that was it.
Yeah.
They just soon you go home, leave us alone.
Yeah. When you got out, was there any nostalgia for war or for that Vietnam or the Army or anything like that, or you were out and you were glad to get out?
I was glad to get out.
Yeah.
And I didn't see anybody. Well, I guess I did. I had a guy stopped at the bar at the airport before I flew home from Fort Knox. I was in uniform. The guy in there bought me a drink. I told him, I'd just come back from Vietnam, and he bought me a drink or two or three, I don't know. But I didn't get the cold shoulder. I didn't get a welcome home or anything, but I didn't get a cold shoulder.
What would you, how would you express yourself as to the whole situation that you got into and got out of in one piece?
Well, I had a good time. Met a lot of good guys, but I sure wouldn't want to do it again.
Yeah. Anything else we want to put on the record here that be of interest, do you think?
Not that I could think of.
Well, thanks, Tim. I think this has been real interesting, and I'll get the library to get this thing typed up, and we'll get it back to you, and we'll edit it and tighten it up and put it in the file. Thanks again.